Wow, bad job out of me. I got way too into the intro there and forgot to
I
add us
know.
back into
I
the
was jamming.
the scene. Yeah, hey. Welcome to Showboys. It's Thursday. It's well, there's no like alliteration with Andor and Thursdays or Star Wars and Thursdays. But hey,
It's
we're
Thursday.
here. It's your sixth Andor Thursday in a row. We'll be breaking down chapter 2 of season 2, episodes 4, 5, and 6. But before we do that, first, how are you, Nick?
I'm good. I mean, it's May 1st, so that technically, really, in a lot of Star Wars fans' minds, and if on the Lego website, kicks off May the 4th celebrations.
Yeah.
So the May the 4th Star Wars sales going on Lego.com. So you can go pick up some stuff there, get some extra stuff too. Some
Star Wars Steam sale too.
Star Wars Steam sale. So I mean, really, it's May, and May the 4th, Revenge of the 5th, yada yada yada. You know, the original movies came out in May. It's just a big deal. Star
Yeah.
Wars is May month as well
Star
as
Wars month.
Christmas. So it's like Legacy Star Wars May, and then Disney was like, you know what? It's also December and
Yeah.
probably August too, and every
Yeah.
other month in
Yeah, and
between
just all year.
all year. Why
Uh
stop? Why ever
yeah.
stop?
Yep. Secondly, I don't know if you actually answered how you were, but I'm assuming you're good. Secondly, thank you. Shout out top tier patrons. You guys are awesome. Josie, S2CH2, Tim B, honorary members of the top tier patron club. Anyone else interested in supporting the podcast, you can over at patreon.com/showboyspodcast. Check it out. We have a whole extensive backlog of Patreon exclusive episodes. You'll get early access to episodes before they release, unedited access to episodes. And yeah, it would mean the world if you would be so kind to support us. That'd be great. And all of our other Patreon members, you guys are awesome too. We appreciate your support. We're going through Jedi Survivor right now as a playthrough series. We just recorded April's episode a couple days ago. Excited to dive back in, but admittedly, the Showboys Game Club game is kind of jumped in front of me. Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Yikes.
Started that, just got done with prologue, but I was actually gonna fire up Jedi Survivor before we got on here, but then podcast stuff popped up and children. But anyways,
Children popped up. Also,
yeah.
unrelated, Dead Space Remastered, I think, is 75% off on Steam.
Oh wow, that's a lot of percent off.
$15. Yeah.
Did you ever play the original? I know you like started it at
I
some
played
point.
like 15 minutes and I was like, one, I hit a bug because the original didn't translate perfectly to whatever I was doing. And two, it was scary.
Stressful.
Stressful.
Very stressful.
I don't like stressful. I don't like to be stressed while I'm gaming.
Yeah, that's well.
I
I would
definitely want to play
say,
it, but
yeah, you need to be in a certain mood.
psychosis.
Yeah. You need to be like Saw, and in a
Up in
Guerrero
Ragonium.
mood. But yeah, episodes 4, 5, and 6, chapter 2. I think we can say we said this. I think we said this last week. I know I said it last
You
week,
did.
like in our DM on Discord during the first scene of episode 1. We are so back.
We're so bad.
But then they pulled the rug out from under us. But chapter 2, we're so back.
Chapter 2, we're way back. We're definitely back on track.
Yeah.
Chapter 2 is definitely. I'd have to like line up all the chapters and start to like do some math to like figure out where chapter 2 season 2 goes, because
Yeah.
it's good, but I do see some thematic changes to season 2 over season 1 that are I think some strong pros or cons depending on your flavor of Star
Yeah.
Wars you like. So we'll get into that, but definitely much more on track here.
Yeah.
In chapter 2, season 2.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot to talk about, and I'm excited to get into it. But the main thing I was most excited about, I think, is our good pal that's hanging out behind us tonight on screen. And that is Saw. He had like a nice chunk in episode 5, just being like so not together, and I loved it.
Yeah, because we got him twice in season 1,
Mhm.
right? We basically had 2 or 3 scenes with him and Luthen, really 2, I think. But we kinda got at least 1 scene per episode here, and maybe even a couple scenes in episode 6 maybe, or 5?
Yeah, 5
So
was there was a nice little chunk. I mean, it wasn't like the majority
yeah,
of the episode, but he had a
right.
nice little
I
chunk.
mean, we're getting a hefty dose of Saw Gerrera here
Mhm.
in season 2, chapter 2, and that is always welcome. I like how that just kind of cemented this whole notion of like, Saw needs an arc in like every show in a Star Wars story. Because if you're telling a Star Wars story, Saw Gerrera somewhere in the mix doing
Yeah.
something crazy. So I mean, he gets his own arc. He gets at least in his own episode. Um, in the Bad Batch. He clearly is in the Clone Wars quite a bit.
Mhm.
He's in Rebels a decent bit. He's in Rogue One a ton. That's where we first see live action Saw. But
Yeah.
then, you know, I would call it cameos in season 1, but season 2, like he gets his own, in my notes here, arc
Yeah.
in this chapter, which can't can't complain about that.
Yeah.
And he gets a
Uh,
monologue.
oh, yeah, it was good. Loved it. There were a couple, quotes I'll have to scroll through our Discord chat to find them, but, there were a couple good ones that, I was like, "Okay." I mean, it's no Luthen elevator scene, uh, or Saw Luthen scene from season 1, but
Hmm.
it's close. It's a close third, I think. Yeah, where do you wanna start? Where do you wanna dive in?
We're gonna start with of episode 1, of course, and we're gonna
Episode
try to
4, you mean?
yeah, sorry, episode 4, first episode of chapter 2 here. Ever been to Gorman?
No, I
So
haven't. You?
yeah, we get to go there this arc. Gorman introduced in chapter 1 of season 2 just by name. Um, Empire has a whole bunch of to dos here on Gorman. ISB's interested in it. Krennic is directly interested in it. So this is all of our ties to the bigger web of things. Gorman, though, in this arc, we get the whole Gorman and the name drop on Grand Moff Tarkin, right? So he did a little bit of a, um, uh,
Big Tark Daddy, as they
yeah,
call him.
big Tark Daddy. So like, it's tricky because there's like that massacre, right? Of he was trying to land a ship and they were like protesting, be like, no, you can't. And he was just like, I'm just gonna drop this sucker right on your heads, man. I was like, I need more context to this story because the visual of it was
Yeah.
literally like, no, do not land the cruiser there. Never mind. Plop.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? This is one of those we talked about, I think, last week where, you know, they do that thing where they blur the line between villainy and, like, relatable. That's
Yeah.
one of those where I'm like, I've
Yeah.
driven through a lot of parking lots and, like, people just think they can, like, walk or stand or sit in places vehicles go. So I'm like, you know, I mean, can we really fault
I mean, what is the equivalent of that? Like JD Vance going to Canada and like just like mowing down a crowd of people.
It's like
In a
those protesters who, like, sit on the freeway trying to, like, block the
right.
truckers, and it's like,
Kinda. But
you're, like,
except
sitting in a freeway where cars drive very fast.
but granted, in this situation, we were talking about a Gorman, which Gorman is like what we get to see. This is the other thing about Andor that I appreciate, and I don't like it when people are like, it doesn't do anything for the extended universe. Like, yeah, it does. Like they just define Gorman as basically France.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, Tarkin had to land his shuttle ship or whatever in the
Mhm.
middle of this like hotel, motel, cafe, like square. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you're being real extra right now. not necessary. But yeah, so I don't know. Now I say that, but not to be um there's then so they call that the Tarkin massacre, right? On
Hmm.
Gorman. There is a Gorman massacre that we may be building toward. That is a known thing. No, don't want to like spoil anything, but like clearly they've already said Gorman's going to get the short end of the stick here. So there is a Gorman massacre to look out for. Not to confuse the two separate events. Clearly, Tarkin was like, I'm just gonna like test the waters and just like do a little massacre here just to get the party started. So I do find it interesting that they're like, we're gonna build a monument and Empire, you guys can still hang out here. I don't know, I don't know. Doesn't sit with me. Like these French people should have rebelled a lot sooner. And maybe that's just the moral of
I mean,
French
does
people
it?
in
Yeah,
general.
it's like, does it still? It still kind of tracks though.
Yeah, because it tracks really well. We're just gonna build a monument. You can still build your office building over here though.
Yeah, yeah,
No big deal.
yeah.
Anyway,
That's great.
um,
Excuse me.
we're gonna say something.
No, I'm just trying not to choke.
Yeah. Um, so we got our Cassian Andor arc here.
Mhm.
He's living with Bix on Coruscant.
What's
They're in
his?
like this safe house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I was gonna skip ahead. I
No,
forgot
yeah.
about the
So
safe house part.
safe house. She's struggling with her PTSD, like double layered cake of PTSD. But really, it's the root of it that really kind of haunts her still. The good doctor that
Yeah.
helped her out mentally, or helped the Empire out with her mentalness. But there's some interesting tension there, and there's a lot of dialogue kind of exchanged throughout their interactions where
Mhm.
she feels that he's being overprotected of her. She kind of is trying to get to this point where he's like, the last thing we did, yeah. She's like, you killed that person, and
Yeah, we
but
never got any details about this. They're just like, "You killed that
no,
boy," and he's like, "He was a soldier." And then they're
yeah,
just like glance over Andor being a child murderer.
yeah. But her whole point is like, you did not kill him because you killed him because he saw me, and you're trying to protect me, and you're being super overprotective, and I
Mhm.
don't need that right now. But he's also like, you're a mess, and you're kind of addicted to the rhodium stuff, which is the theme throughout this arc. Everyone is huffing this
Is
stuff,
that
and
the
it kind of
same? Is that the same thing? That
yeah,
oh, I
yeah.
didn't
So it's
know
kind
that.
of it's a fuel that people also
Oh,
like to
shit.
huff. So same thing like spice. Spice is like a dual purpose. It has multiple
Mm,
purposes in the Star Wars universe. Same thing with like Dune, spice, multi-purpose, both fuel and all that stuff. Not fuel,
right.
but lots of uses of it. So, but apparently, rhodium is like what she's huffing on, sipping on. I kind of found out, and maybe this is new. I'm not really sure, but this is also what Saw's whole thing is.
His like suit in Rogue One.
All of it, like
Okay,
his kind of like stress on his face and like anxiety, paranoia. It's all from this
so
rhodonium huffing.
basically, he's like a meth head.
Yeah, yeah. He's a terrorist meth head.
Nice, but like, is I wanted to ask this, and since we're talking about it right now, I'm glad because I would have forgot. But like in Rogue One, his suit's like all crazy, and he's got like the tubes and stuff. Is that like what it's for? Is
um,
he like the equivalent of like Bane, who always needs like fed the juice? Is he just like that addicted by the time we get to Rogue One, where he's just always got rhodium just pumping?
that's a good question. Either his suit. Well, at first thought, in Rogue One, right, is the idea that he's kind of like Darth Vader and needs the
Hmm.
whole like respiration and like suit to like sustain him because he's so like tore up.
Hmm.
But after this, I don't know. Like I can get how like the suit is needed to like keep him going, but the mask thing where he's like huffing on, that might be like just straight gas in there and
Yeah,
he's addicted, right? So I
yeah,
kind of feel like you might be right now that we kind of get this extra context that
yeah.
maybe his suit is both like a respiratory, like keeping him moving type thing, but also got that good supply just like in the tank on the
Yeah.
back.
Admittedly, it's been a few years since I've seen Rogue One, so
Yeah.
I can't recall the finer details, but now I'm even more excited to rewatch it as soon as season 2 ends here. But yeah, man, Bix, she's traveling down a rough path. This arc here. I kind of get like uh where they're both coming from, right? I mean, at this point,
Yeah, for sure.
Bix kind of needs saved from herself,
Yeah.
But dude, like, can we talk about the conversation they were having? Like, that's crazy. Like, just another. I love it because it's like one of those little nuggets of like, by the way, the things the rebels do, kind of a little shady.
Yeah.
Like, they aren't exactly in the way they're approaching this whole thing. Which is always nice to add that, like, you know, blur the line a little bit.
Yeah, and we definitely get a lot of, especially in this episode, and probably actually this entire season, right? We're really kind of honing in on the Luthen line from season one. Like I'm cursed to use the tools of my enemy, right?
Mm,
And we really see, especially in this arc, the rebels, using the rebels and ISB are doing the exact same thing with these Gorman people. Like the ISB's infiltrating Gorman, doing double agent stuff there, trying to incite a rebellion
mm,
on Gorman. Meanwhile, Luthen's just like, Andor, can you leave Bix real quick and just like pop down to Gorman and like just assess the situation, and try to help them out and see if it's what we want to get involved in. So I mean, yeah, that's part of the arc here too, where Luthen clearly needs Bix Andor, right? He needs his good soldiers, and but Andor's kind of tied to Bix right now because she's not in the best state. But also Luthen needs Bix to kind of get on the up and up,
yeah.
and um, so Andor is reluctant to like go on missions because of Bix. Bix is just incapable. But like part of the rub here that we kind of see throughout the Andor Luthen arc is Luthen visits Bix when Andor leaves, and basically is like that was an interesting like conversation in the way that all played out, where he
Mhm.
just kind of shows up, he's assessing the situation, she reads him like a book, and she's like, "You came here to ask me something, but you changed your mind because I look like crap." He's like, "You got me.
Yeah. Nailed it.
You can have your Rhydonium liquid back. Huff
Yeah.
that later." So it's just like interesting dynamics there. Is like Luthen's still trying. Luthen's being Luthen, but like Andor is like he has his his sensitive side,
Mhm.
and he is very attached to Bix, and they're together
Yeah.
officially. That probably was a thing in chapter one of this
Yeah.
arc, but
I would assume
um,
so, yeah.
we didn't really get
Um,
to see it.
so 2 things.
Two
First,
things, yeah,
just I love like the Cassian bat signal essentially.
yeah,
The
right.
blinking light is pretty cool.
And I like how she
But
just like tweaks out and just like stares, waiting
yeah,
for
it's
it
just
to go
like
off.
it's blinking again.
It's blinking again.
Um, but secondly, when they go down to like the market place
Yes.
and Cassian like picks something off the shelf or whatever, is he like getting her supply? Or like what did he or am I like looking too far into this?
I mean, maybe I kind of that was a really early scene, and I really don't remember, but I
Yeah.
remember it happening. So
Or maybe he was just like picking something up and because he
yeah,
didn't want to be there, but I don't know. But like he knows, right? That she's like, you know.
yeah. No, I think he definitely knows.
I don't know why I stopped talking and was just like, you know.
No, he definitely knows. I think. Is he happy about her, thrilled? Yes and no, but I think he's just again. I think he's just more concerned with her well
Mhm.
being. So like if he
Yeah.
and he's not he's a very practical person. He's not one to be like, you shouldn't be doing that. It's not very good for you. Like, I think he's more along if like if that's helping you, like not like commit suicide or whatever, I'm cool with that in the moment. I'm not gonna like come here and berate you that you shouldn't be abusing drugs. If that gets us through the day, you know,
Yeah.
it's like his prison speech. He's like, just keep taking that next step, like one step at a time. That's
Yeah.
Cassian.
But for any children listening, maybe don't do meth.
Don't do meth. Don't
Yeah.
really do many drugs.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. Watch Star Wars
Yeah.
and try to take some lessons home with you.
Yeah. But not Bix's lessons. Or maybe really not really anyone from Andor's lessons. Maybe watch
Sorry,
a
kids.
different
There's no
Star
good
Wars.
guy. Sorry, kids. Well, yeah. We'll preface this. Andor's not for kids.
That's
It is
also
the one
true.
exception to the rule. Star Wars is for kids, except Andor. But that rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Along with the double, like we got 2 kissing scenes in this arc, and
smooching and hooching going
man.
on. It's just
Ooh,
Star Wars
off the
series just
rails.
having a bad time.
No, you stopped watching it. No, you stopped covering it. I kid.
That's true.
He still watched it.
Hold on.
Go.
Also, what do you think about like the indoor grill situation?
The giant toaster oven. It's a toaster oven. I have one of those.
Yeah, but he's like,
it's not quite a Cadillac like that.
It just, yeah. I'm just like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably helps with like not splattering grease and stuff everywhere.
I forget what I was watching. They were mentioning how, I don't know, it was like the different kinds of like movies and TV where there's the ones where the the characters don't eat, drink, or do anything at all. Then there's the ones where they do. And I was watching this arc and I was like, yeah, they do plenty of eating and drinking and drug doing in this whole deal. Like even Saul's crew, like they're eating lunch when the one dude like rolls up. It's like, hey, where are we actually going? Like they're eating lunch there.
Yeah, I guess
Young
they
kids
are.
eating on like a sausage or whatever, which kind of reminds me of like Empire Strikes Back when Luke's hanging out with Yoda and he's just like chewing on like a chewy sausage. Yeah. But yeah, they do plenty of eating, right? And they're cooking dinner in the apartment. And and then last arc we got Cyril and Daedra cooking dinner for mom. So
yeah, that's true.
we do plenty of just daily stuff.
And yeah, they even talk about like remodeling. She's like, we gotta do something about these windows, and I'm like, how on earth are you gonna do anything about those windows?
Dude, I took that as more like people can simply see in them. I think that's what she was talking about, not like.
I mean, you're like 4 miles off the ground. Like,
have you seen episode 2?
Yeah.
Remember
like
when
the
like
movie?
little robot comes up and opens the window and puts in the bugs?
Oh yeah.
They have drones and droids
yeah.
in Star Wars,
I
bro.
guess
Like,
I
doesn't
always
matter
forgot
how
about
high
that.
they are. Come on, keep up here. But yeah, they do. Okay. That's one thing about Andor is apparently this show's so adult. Like we're talking about this the mundane. Like we got to see Andor go down to like this like just the whole purpose of that scene was he went to the sketchy shop with like scary he reminds me of kind of like the guy from you just shared the meme of him from the cop show in Britain. Zombies.
Oh, like the Hound?
Yeah, the Hound guy. Yeah. Like
Okay, yeah.
it's his character, that guy. Yarg.
Oh
Like that
yeah,
dude
the
steps
Yarp
out
guy.
from the
Yeah.
back. But then like he puts the earpiece in and this dude's just like breaking down his entire new identity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, first off, is Cassian gonna remember all this? Like that dude's got an impeccable memory to like remember his new identity, but maybe that's what he does. So
Yeah.
I couldn't do that because when he started saying where he lived, did you listen to like the
Yeah.
detail, especially on Coruscant, where you got to talk thinking like 4 dimensions of like your address?
Yeah. I mean, maybe he just listened to it literally the entire trip. Like fell
it is a
asleep with the
recording,
earpiece
most
in.
definitely.
Like, yeah.
Okay, it wasn't live feed. It was just a
Yeah.
recording of him.
That's the way I took it.
Yeah.
What's his name? Varian Sky or something like that?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool name.
yeah.
A Ghorman. Well, maybe he's not Ghorman in the show, but you know.
No, he's from Coruscant. He lived there his whole life, but he's going to Ghorman as kind of
fashioneer.
Like,
what is it?
fashion designer, just a
Yeah.
designer.
Got
That
them
was
all looking
cool.
dapper though.
Yeah, and we get to see that in episode 2. He's looking sharp, or episode 5. And it's cool to see. And that's kind of more the theme of this, is more like subterfuge and
Mm-hmm.
like secret agent type stuff, less so much like terrorist stuff like the first
Yeah, we
season.
saved that for episode 6.
Yeah, this is more kind of like James Bondy type stuff.
Mm.
Not to be confused with like Pam Bondi or any of
I
the
was about to say that.
anyway, continuing.
Pam's long lost brother.
Yeah. We get to see Cyril. This one's interesting. Cyril is actually on Gorman. And little do we know at the very beginning, but quickly it gets uncovered, he's an ISB double agent working for his girlfriend, we'll call her Daedra.
Yeah.
I doubt they're married.
Okay, we're just gonna bring this up here. I
Turn
said
off
this
the
to you.
lights. Okay.
I said, turn down the lights.
I know, she's so mean.
She channeled her inner Christian Bale Batman there.
Right.
I said this to you, and I need our listeners' opinions. Like, I can't be the only person that thinks this. Dedra's like resting facial expression always looks like she just smelled a really nasty fart. I can't be the only person that thinks this. She just always looks like she's smelling something stinky. Like,
I mean, she did say she grew up in an Imperial Kinder block. I assume it would have been really clean, but I bet she had some just nasty roommates, other orphan children that just had really just got her face stuck like that.
Yeah, dude. And like,
it's just contorted.
I don't think
right
she's ever smiled.
I think she does. It's very flat and like, this is super evil kind of smile. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, I'm genuinely happy. She smirked at Cyril when he came back to town for an hour. Turn off the lights.
Turn down the lights.
But yeah, she's got him on the trip of his lifetime. And like, he even says this in episode 5.
Probably more ways than one.
Yeah, he's just living his best life. And it's just funny what Cyril's best life is. No mom, just has to call her.
It's like number 1 on his list of best life.
Yeah. dating like an ISB supervisor who has assigned him with a top secret double agent ISB mission.
And he also gets to be a boss on Ghorman.
And he gets to be in charge of his little like bureau of, what is it?
I don't know, spider counting or whatever.
No. Yeah. Anyways, I'll remember it. But yeah, he gets his own little office. It's like a branch office of where he worked at Coruscant. And he's just posing as he got a promotion, but his mom's like, you got canned. You're getting the shaft. You really messed up again. I assume, based on the way this whole thing is set up, she thinks that like he just left Daedra and like they're not together. And
that's the impression I got. She's like, Uncle Harlow's gonna be so disappointed. You're besmirching the family name. And I hope we get to like meet this Harlow guy because they talk about him so much. But yeah, this arc across these 3 episodes is really cool. I love it because he's, at first I was like, wait, hold on, what the heck's going on? Like, because we didn't say this, but we got another year jump, right?
Yes, sir.
So, maybe they could have broken up in this year. You never know. So I was like, okay, that's odd. But then, they tricked me, and he's working for the ISB still and working for Daedra still.
Mm-hmm.
But I love how he knows about the Ghorman Front, which is the like resistance rebel group that the ISB is tracking, and also we learn that Luthen and the rebellion is tracking. He knows, he knows that the Ghorman Front is like listening and spying on the Empire here in this office. So he like is leading them to believe that he's not really like for what the Empire's doing. He gets this invite to this underground,
Town
like,
hall.
yeah. And it's like at first, before it's revealed, I was like, oh man. Like, I don't know if I was just feeling really gullible when I was watching this at first. I'm like, oh, is Cyril like,
You
what's
channeled
going on
me.
with this guy?
Yeah, you're like, man, this is interesting.
Yeah. But no, he still is very like 1,000% pro Empire still.
Yeah,
Um,
he's just super. Like I already said, like this is his pipe dream, man. Like everything about his life right now is just he loves it. He's his
yeah.
peak.
I love when he leaves. Well, like first he's getting ready and he sees like somebody watching him from his window, like a gardener or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which very well could have just been a gardener, like spacing out, watching someone get ready, you know. You know.
Is this a
But
thing that
he's like
happens regularly? Like,
he's
do you
like,
do
yeah,
this?
yeah, you know, hey, yeah, sometimes no, I'm just kidding.
Does your gardener do this?
If if my gardener, which I don't have a gardener, the neighborhood has lawn care. If
Ooh.
they could look into my window because I live on the second story, it'd be a very tall gardener.
Or you live
um,
in Star Wars.
yeah, that's true. But no, he's like hyper paranoid, so much so that when he leaves his apartment or whatever, he like ties this thread
Yeah.
like at the bottom of his door to see if someone comes in because it would break, obviously. So he's like, yeah, just the hyper paranoia, but also like he's very much onto something because when he comes back, it is broken, and he's like, yes, they're following me.
Yeah, he's so pumped, dude. Like
Yeah,
he's such a dweeb. It's funny.
yeah,
He's living his best life. Um, so yeah, but also we're getting good dabbles of like Gorman culture here. And it's an interesting thing where we're talking about these Gormans who are very passive and peaceful people. Like they don't have weapons, they're not fighters. They make clothes. They're the
yeah,
French
and
people, really,
baguettes.
and baguettes. They're French. And
Do
they're
you think
super.
they're really speaking like that language is French?
No, they made that up, but the
Oh,
French
okay.
actors that were all playing those roles ended up like they were speaking that between scenes. Like they made that language up. Not them, but
Oh,
the show writers, but they were really in character there speaking
oh,
that.
wow, that's cool.
So it's just interesting because like the argument to be like super pacifists is like so appealing.
French?
It-
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah. It's so appealing. But I don't know, maybe the moral of the stories here is, like, obviously, that didn't work out for the actual French, um, but also it does not work out for the Gormans because the Empire's intent is to, like, destroy the planet, so it's just like, I get the idea, but you're really making, like, Saw and Luthen seem like in the right here, you just have to blindly oppose the oppression,
Yeah.
um
Yeah, and the Gorman people are up in arms because I think you said this already, maybe not. The Empire is building an armory of all things. Like
They
they
call
find out,
just they call just like an office or whatever.
yeah, but they find out it's an armory,
Yeah.
like right in the shadow of the monument. I think is
Other way around. The monument will be in the shadow of the
ah,
building,
there
which
you
is
go.
what is
Yeah,
upsetting to them.
yeah, yeah. So it's not even the fact that it's an armory, but there's like it's gonna cast a shadow on the monument, both literally and figuratively. But like,
Yeah, and that's interesting about like the paranoia of it because at first like they're disgruntled that the shadow of this imperial building is going to be over the monument where the massacre happened. And then through that anger and disgruntledness at this building, they're like, "You know what? Is it actually an armory?" So, it's like kind of reverse in terms of how they
yeah,
come to their conclusions.
right.
Um, and it's funny when later when Andor's talking to Luthen about it, he's like, they're just really trying to prove something they all already know. Like they're idiots. They know it, but they're like just doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
which is funny too because they all clearly know it. It's just one dude's just like, we don't have any hard evidence, can't do nothing. Innocent until proven guilty. Empire, you win.
Hate to see it.
Hate to see it. Good there for now.
Yeah.
Mon Mothma arc.
Mon.
Mon.
The monster.
Yeah. So her whole thing is she's working
What a
with
necklace she was wearing, by the way. Basically
out.
like a knight's armor chest piece,
Yeah.
essentially.
She's trying to get stabbed in the throat by her husband.
Yeah.
But we kind of get this cool like campaign montage of her. Basically, it's PLRD is the acronym, and it's this idea to protect Gorman, because over the years here, it's been very apparent that the Empire is just continuously putting this pressure on Gorman. Gormans are confused why they're being picked on. Senate's like, or Mon's like, we shouldn't be like forcing them into these conditions. Everything about it, and basically it's a lot of policy stuff too, where in that town hall, if you read the subtitles of this like faux French that they made up, Gormanese, they're like, we're wondering if our 1,000-year-old like silk threadery, whatever you want to call them, is even worth opening next year because it's just not going to make us money. So it's like, I guess we're talking tariffs, we're talking all kinds of like policy
They're just
driven
hitting all
things.
the hot button issues.
Yeah. To really kind of oppress Gorman and kind of force them into a position they can't really do anything but rebel. And
Right.
Mon's all like, we gotta do something about this with policy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think her marriage is back on track. Since her boyfriend got
Well, we don't know.
I mean, okay, she does say to Luthen, I haven't seen my or no, that was her cousin. Actually, they didn't even bring him up this
They didn't talk
entire arc.
about Tay at all.
At first I thought that's who they were referencing. I'm like, oh no, her cousin, Vel.
I did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, Tay's not her cousin.
Yeah, because I was waiting for the Tay, like what happened to Tay note, and we did not get a what happened to Tay note. I think we just have to assume Cinta got Tay, and you know what happens when Cinta gets at somebody, they die. Because Cinta's cold blooded. But yeah,
true.
I think he's dead. You don't think he's dead?
I don't know.
You think he's like locked in Gorman?
Nobody, no death.
He's locked in what's his face's basement, the gangster that has the party later.
Skuldrin.
Yeah, Skuldrin's basement.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, how's he buying all these artifacts? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, it reminded me obviously a lot of the animated Mon stuff we've seen, right?
Yeah.
Politicking, senatoring, I guess.
Fun Easter egg. The person, the manservant that's constantly following her around, her aide, he is the same one that is there in Rebels as her like main aide.
Really?
Yeah, so same dude.
That's cool.
Fun Easter egg.
Yeah, do you think maybe because I did notice that Mon and her husband, I always forget his name. Do you remember his name?
Perrin?
Perrin, that's right. Yeah, Mon and Perrin were civil.
Yeah.
Which is
we get a lot of them doing, and I think it's in episode 5 or maybe even in 5, they're kind of like discussing actually in hindsight now I think about it, they were discussing the party they go to in episode 6. So like in episode 5 we get the scene of them kind of being like, oh, how do we navigate this ridiculous amount of like political partyness? And he makes a note, but he's like, well, have you seen this many senators like come around like that quickly? I think it was kind of suggesting that there's been a ton of new senators, which I think is a note that we have a lot of placed senators in power where they are not really senators, they are just imperial puppets.
Yeah, I love how he's just like looking at all the scheduled things. He's like, dude, so many dinners, so many parties. I love it. But maybe the daughter was the real cancer of this family and relationship.
they married her off, and they got that out of the way, and now they just kind of have to deal with dad-in-law, like, just as like a good
Yeah.
party to go to. And now I think about it, like that's what he was like, oh, we'll definitely go to that last, which was referencing like
Yeah.
ending the night with that party. And I like how she was just like, that's just where she like unclinks her like
Her
giant
armor.
necklace, her armor, and it's just like, you'll figure it out. Like I just love
Yeah.
that. I do that
Yeah.
to Aaron all the time. Like, ah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, you got it. You got this.
I'm gonna get my mon on and just be like, yeah, I'll do it at work too. You'll
And then
figure
she
it out.
then you just see Nick's over there just like Nick, there's not even any music playing.
Granted, like let's talk about just, not to jump too far ahead, but so I don't forget the party scenes between the episode 3 and episode 6. Mon goes from just like having the time of her life, like just getting drunk, listening to some EDM music, to
Mhm.
I'm gonna grill an imperial like
Dude,
director on his
she
we'll
has
get to that
no
later.
chill.
No chill. Um, anyway, and I think she was also talking to Senator Dasi Oren. He's the Gorman senator, and he's the one
Oh
that's
yeah,
just like
yeah.
being super pacifist about it. It's like, don't really want to rock the boat. She's like, you guys are
Yeah,
gonna die.
right. And he's like, well, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's just like, dude, literally trying to help you. Like, what are you doing?
She's like, this is your planet, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And no, I guess this would happen. It's so hard to go episode by episode because they all blend together.
Yeah, we're
Um,
getting the front load on.
but like Ortega recast.
Yeah, or you mean Organa?
Organa, that's right. I don't know why I said Ortega. Yeah, I'm just thinking about taco shells right now.
Um,
I am very
yeah,
hungry.
I don't know why he got recast. So
Is
now we have
is
this
I
weird
wonder
thing.
if that
Maybe
guy
it's not
is like,
him.
is he still alive? No, it's definitely him. They said his name.
Yeah, true. Bale, but it's Bale Organa. Did they say Bale Organa or just Senator Organa? Maybe he has a brother.
That's true. But I mean, how many
It's just weird
Senator
because we're
Organas?
right in the middle, so they can't say that's the younger him because we have the younger him in the prequels. Maybe that's an older him.
I'm gonna look up and see if the original like actor is still alive.
Yeah. But moving on, we're talking about the Saw Gerrera arc next. So this is fun. They're on Dakar, right? And we see this
Mhm.
base. Does it look familiar? It should, because it's from The Force Awakens, where the Resistance was hanging out in The Force Awakens when they see uh the big Death Star just like nuke the entire Republic. So fun little Easter egg there, if that looked familiar to anyone. William Pack, our young Ferrex lad who used to work in the shop with his dad. Dad got tortured and then put on the wall
Mm.
um, in season 1. He, being the mechanical mastermind he is, great little engineer in his youth. His dad taught him everything he knew.
Mhm.
We had a nod to that because he's like, "Where'd you learn all this?" Doesn't answer because he's like, "Bro, don't want to talk about it. Dad taught me everything I know.
Yeah.
Empire killed him. I'm really
Thanks for
disgruntled."
picking that scab, bro.
Yeah, dork. But so I assume he shows up with as another piece of fancy gear from Luthen as a present to Saw,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Dang, this thing's nice. You know how it works?" He's like, "I know all 9 combinations and all of the fun stuff." He's like, "Cool. Can you train this dude how to do it?" So we get some like scenes of him training that guy how to do it. But in essence, he's like, "Hey, dropped it off. I'm gonna go back now." He's
Yeah.
like, "No, no, no, no. You're not going nowhere, buddy."
Yeah.
And we're showing this like the coughing definitely starting. I don't know if he was coughing much in the first season, but he's definitely coughing in this season. Um,
Saw?
yeah,
Or okay, yeah.
yeah, he's definitely showing his more irateness and
Mhm.
tweaking out. But it should be because we're like 2 years from Rogue One, and
Yeah. And so like this device, the whole point is so they can like refuel while they can like steal fuel from places, right?
yeah. So I didn't really know what this thing was, but apparently, jump to the end. We'll talk about that scene later in more detail, but yeah, it seemed that like he was calibrating it, and based on knowing where in like the pipeline you're going and what kind of facility you're working with. It knows how it's basically seems
Mhm.
like a key to
Yeah.
unlock the pipeline and like hijack stuff from like a node of sorts.
Yeah.
But now we're talking pipelines in space, pumping
I know.
fuel, man.
Jeez,
Like
come on,
we're
let's go. Drill,
all over
baby,
the place.
drill.
Yeah.
I'm not partial at all.
Yeah.
Um,
We should have had some rigs in the distance, like how
yeah, exactly.
Redonium gets.
Let's go. I'll run title on. No, I'm just kidding. So update.
Yeah.
Jimmy Smits is the guy who plays Bail Organa.
Uh-huh.
In everything else besides Andor here.
Yeah.
He actually is still alive.
Okay,
So I
good.
don't want to spread that whole thing.
Yeah.
But apparently it's just like a scheduling thing as to
Yeah.
why he's recast. He was, doing something else and they couldn't like work out time, so they just recast
But
him.
why the cameo then? Like, why even bother? I would have just not had him in there. It's not that important to have Bale. Like, he's been in so many things.
I
It's
mean,
not
he
like
literally just walked up and was like, "Oh, hey, man."
right. It's not like we're itching for a Bale Organa cameo,
Yeah.
and then the cameo wasn't even like productive.
Yeah,
So
unless we have 6 more episodes, unless
True,
there's
true.
something comes then. But as of right now, very pointless.
But you make a good point. Maybe that's a good hint that we got some Bail Organa coming up in the future, which would make sense because he was pretty involved. He was one of the original think tank minds of the whole entire rebellion, all the way back in episode 3.
The
R.I.P.
movie.
Padme. Yes,
Yeah.
sorry, the movie. The Revenge of the Sith, which I went to the theaters and saw.
Did you? Nice.
Yes.
For the
Yeah, it was a good
20th
time.
anniversary.
Dude, bro, like it bumped. It made 25 million domestically, I think 45 like globally, and
Yeah.
it was basically the number 2 movie behind the one that was really hot.
Thunderbolts or something?
No, that's coming out this weekend, I think.
Oh, okay.
It was that one like movie that no one expected to do well and it started doing really well. That was number 1. It beat out The Accountant too. I'll say that.
I really want to see that movie.
That's what everyone says, but I was like, yo, I'm going to see
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith. It's making more money than that movie anyway, so
I also want to see The Amateur. Have you seen that? Previews for
I
that?
saw the not the movie, but the ad
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
It's basically like
A lot of good people in that thing.
spiritual successor to Mr. Robot.
Right.
Mr. Robot in the other White Rose universe, where he's basically like the accountant.
Yep.
Essentially. But anyways. It's cool that a couple people in the Discord also went and saw the episode 3 in theaters, so
it was a good time. It was good.
Yeah.
But like it was like the entire middle of the theater was sold out. Like
nice.
Like I would say 2/3 was easily all taken up.
They should do that more. Like
re-releases.
Do like little special theater showings of old movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean they've been doing it for the 20th anniversaries on the Star Wars movies. I don't know if they did Clone War or Attack of the Clones. I saw Phantom Menace, did not see Attack of the Clones. I don't know if I missed it or what happened there. But yeah, no, it's a good time. And especially just the updated theater experience, like clearly like it's better quality than it was 20 freaking years ago. So just good time. Just a good time. I took my oldest son when he was like 3.5 to go see Phantom Menace. Really good idea. But I was like, he's only 5. There's like not enough time has passed. He can't see Revenge of the Sith. Like I don't want to like warp his brain.
Daddy, why is that guy letting his friend burn in a volcano?
Dude, there's stuff before that that's also not like completely kosher for a 5-year-old, in my opinion. Because I'm watching it and I'm like, oh yeah, good thing. It was not just the end. There's some stuff sprinkled in throughout that, like even Count Dooku, like dude clearly gets his head cut off and his head rolls on the floor. Like, pause.
Yeah.
Anyway, episode 5. I have friends everywhere.
Yeah.
Good episode. Better
Indeed.
than 4. Better than 4.
Yeah. The climb, the ascension of these episodes, like greatness, is really awesome in this arc.
Yeah, and I think you just have to have like the spy thriller thing. Like you have to enjoy that to like enjoy the tension buildup of and how
Mhm.
how the show like builds that energy, because like it's very void of action. Action is like 10%, and really only in one episode. And it's the last episode in these arcs where you get 10% action.
Yeah, all the action is the amazing dialogue.
Yeah, we're basically in word acrobatics, wordsmithing, where everything is kind of not just throwaway. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy how they craft that, and you have to enjoy that. If you do not enjoy that, you hate this show. That's just what it is.
that's very true.
You're just not gonna get it. The energy they build with just this dialogue is wild, and I feel bad liking it sometimes because some people just hate it so much, and it's like I don't know what to tell you, man. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
good.
great. You just gotta
Um,
appreciate greatness.
is that what being an adult is? I don't know.
Yeah, it's right up there with, getting interested in history and smoking
True.
meats and
Right. Right.
appreciating great dialogue.
That's the other thing. It's like the amount, like when I was like, holy crap, this is totally French resistance. Like Gorman is like France. I'm like, you gotta know something about some things to like put that together right away.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. And then
Mhm.
just all the little things.
Shane would be proud
Shane would
of
be
you.
proud. Anyway, casting Andor in season 5. He hold on. What are my notes saying? Um we
Is
get some back.
this Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, this one of these episodes, it was 5 or 6. I'm leaning more towards 6, but had maybe the greatest party guest quote ever, and it needs to become a GIF instantly,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to add it as like a sound bite here in StreamYard. But when his like little lackey gets like way too like suck up about going to this party,
Oh yeah.
and party guests just like calibrate your enthusiasm.
I know.
I'm just like, oh, dude.
That was good.
That was like, yeah, in my mind was that like got him gif just played in my
Got
head
him.
for like 5 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, and then we got Luthen's undercover ISB there. Like he's like, "Yep, you're taking the lead on this one. I'm out, but I'm gonna tag along."
yeah,
That was all some interesting crafting.
yeah,
Um, we'll go to Cyril because I think we mostly covered the Cassian stuff for the most part. He's just basically looking fly, rolling around Gorman,
yeah. Being
doing his
real
thing.
disappointed. Like he's not even angry. He's just disappointed in the Gorman.
It's like y'all suck. Can't fight. You're not fighters.
Yeah.
We get the whole later the Luthen like I need you to think like a leader, not
Oh yeah,
soldier.
dude. That was the yeah. He's like yeah. Luthen questioning why Andor is like just throwing the Gorman front away.
Yeah.
And Andor's like, I'm thinking like a soldier. And he's like, well, you need to think like a leader. And I was like, oh, dude.
Oh, got him.
But
It's
like
like,
also true.
yeah,
Because it is like it's a different mindset. Like just I mean, I've
yeah.
never been in a rebellion like military resistance, but I'm talking like just in life when you approach things, you do have two ways to approach things, and one
You gotta
as
have
a
agency.
follower or one as a leader,
Yeah,
and they're very different mindsets to have.
yeah.
Um,
It's about just taking the agency and knowing what you know, but also knowing what you don't know. But
yeah,
like in this situation, like Cass, but this is because of his situation with Bix. Like he's really treating this like work, where he's like, "You told me to go there, assess the situation, and come back." And Luthen's like, "Yeah, that's what I said, but like, what if you just didn't do exactly what I said and like started a huge rebellion on this planet? Wouldn't that be dope, dude?" He's
yeah.
like,
So
"No, Bix."
basically, Luthen is being like everyone's significant other, and Andor is just like, I literally did what you told me to, and Luthen's like, well, you should have known what I meant.
You see the potential. And
Andor's like, I'm sorry, I cannot read your mind. It's like you should have known.
but yeah, and to Luthen, like Luthen sees Gorman because it's a very prominent core world. and it's like really out of pocket that the Empire is putting this much pressure on them. Typically, they would let the core worlds just be happy. They're basically the rich people that get
Mhm.
bribed to be, you know, I don't know, I forget the term, but along for the ride and all the atrocities that the Empire is doing. But Gorman, for some reason, like this is interesting development. So what's happening here? Go
Yeah.
there, figure it out. It's not, don't just go there and give me a freaking homework report, Andor.
Right.
Like, do
Right.
something
And
crazy.
like, and Luthen's mindset is like, if everyone can see a rebellion start and happen, like if
Especially in
this,
a place like Gorman.
yeah, if this like, putting it in our, you know, terms, right? If this like first world country like puts their foot down and starts to resist, like we expect that from like maybe third world countries,
Right.
the outer rim planets, right? But like Gorman, like
Yeah. Feel
that
like
could
Master Chief is like,
that could turn into like a revolution, not just like a rebellion.
yeah,
And so that's kind of like Luthen's thought process, and Andor's just like, well, you didn't tell me that.
yeah. But that conversation ultimately escalates into where we'll leave this off before we hit the last episode. But it escalates into like the Bix thing. Clearly, it's weighing me down. You want Bix there. I'm mad you even went to see Bix. You didn't tell me. He's like, I'm disappointed in her and you now because she told you that I came and visited.
He's like, I
God.
just kind of wanted to see what would happen.
So that ultimately leaves that conversation. He's like, help me fix the Bix thing. And life will be grand and
Yeah,
explosive from here on out. I
yeah.
promise.
I also love how Luthen's like pulls the whole like, remember, kill me or take me in. You remember that?
I like how it was like
Luthen
almost
is
like making
channeling.
fun of him.
Yeah, yeah. Luthen is very much channeling his passive aggressive like
Oh,
significant other
dude,
in this episode.
dude, that was really passive aggressive because I'm like, oh, he just like mocked him. He's like,
Yeah,
ooh, kill me or take me in. And like, surprise, spoiler, I took you in. Do the
yeah.
thing.
Now this this conversation kind of happens in two parts, and maybe we're mixing them together. But like, obviously, one happens on the ship when Cassian gets picked up from Gorman by
Yeah,
Luthen. And then another similar, maybe like some of the stuff we were talking about here, if not the stuff we were talking about, it's a very similar conversation, happens at the shop. And Luthen is
yes.
very much not happy with Cassian for coming to the shop and like,
Yeah, part one is when he picks him up on the ship on the Fondor. He goes
mhm,
and talks to Bix. They make out, and then he goes and yells at Luthen at the shop, which he's like, "Bro, you are out of pocket." And I like how he's just always ready. He's like,
yeah.
"Thanks for like delivering this." Always on it.
And I love how Cassian's just like, you're a psycho. Like,
It's like,
can you just talk to me?
yeah, because Andor. But then again, like that's the Andor that Luthen wants all the time. Because like Andor, his mindset is like, dude, if anyone like steps to me outside on this patio, I'm gonna murder him.
Yeah.
I don't care who sees me. I'm here. I will murder everyone that knows.
Yeah.
Chill, Luthen.
Yeah.
Um, psychopath. Yeah, like how many times has Andor seen Grandma Luthen? You know what I mean? Like how often has he seen that
I also hope other people like call him Grandma Luthen.
flamboyant
We can't be
grandma?
the only ones.
There's no way. Yeah,
We
it's
gotta
out there.
talk to Mr. Bicycle, see what
Yeah,
they call him.
yeah, we gotta jump on there. Anyway, blah blah blah, jumping all around. Searle, this is where we kind of he visits Coruscant, right? And he sneaks off there. He goes back home. That isn't actually his home. He's like, "Hey,
Turn
Daedra,
the lights down.
what's up?" And um, he's like, "How long do we have?" An hour. He's like, "Oh, that's it." But then he was like, "We do have an hour." Lights off, lights off. Lights literally go 100% pitch black. Like,
Yeah. Let's
bing.
let those farts rip, bro.
But that's what I mean. Like, 100% pitch black, fully clothed. Like I really have questions about what happened because it was really dark in there. They're just
I'm not sure I
fumbling
want to know.
around. Exactly. So I don't think we can just assume what the natural assumption is. I think it's something. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. Like I said, those
Uh,
ISP supervisors, they got some weird stuff going on.
they do.
Thank
I
God they
saw.
turned off the lights though and did not show us that scene. Then I was like, are we gonna get sounds? I was like, please don't. Please
I saw an interview.
You realize you
With
could pause that scene and just add sounds because it's just dark. And it could be what you're thinking or it could be what everyone else is thinking.
I don't want to know. Some things are best left unseen or unsaid. But no, I saw an interview with the actress who plays Dedra and the actor who plays Cyril, and they were talking about in the first chapter, you know, the episode where they're having dinner with his mom and he leaves, and the camera like pans into the room, and he's just like looks like a dead body on the bed, you know, throwing his
Mm-hmm.
little like pouty tantrum thing.
Yeah.
That like wasn't scripted. They were just like, so just do whatever you think Cyril would do. And Dedra is like, she didn't know until she like saw it, and she was like,
Wow.
that's amazing. But
Right.
like yeah, just that scene of him just like laying in the bed where he just looks like a corpse, like 'cause his body's like all contorted and he's like pouting. I
He's
love it.
just an overstimulated like toddler and just literally has to
Yeah.
take a timeout because he can't stand mom right now.
Yeah.
Um
For all their weird like dysfunction, like I love Cyril and Dedra and their
yeah,
dynamic. It's
yeah.
amazing.
Was it someone in the Gorman front that like suggested to Cyril that they think the ISB is operating like a shadow government? I think
Probably. Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The irony in that statement being said to Cyril, he's like, "Really?" Like he's like, "Yes, they're falling for it. I'm so awesome." Shadow government? No, you're crazy. But also, again, he's living his best life. He gets to go to ISB headquarters. He gets to meet with Partagast and
Mhm.
Daedra, not
Oh, we
his.
didn't even talk about the fake finding out of of Cyril where the ISB like raids his office.
Oh yes, yes, yeah. The
He's
alt.
like, we've had people, our office is bugged. People are spying on us. And he's like, it's me.
It's me. I did. It's me the whole time. Yeah. There's just all kinds of fun things going on with Cyril in this
Yeah.
arc. But he gets so giddy talking to Partagaz, like he's just so excited, and Daedra's just like, "Please don't kill, like, please,
Yeah.
don't."
Secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, secondhand embarrassment. She's like, like she's just like, just put a cap on it, man. He's just
Yeah.
so excited. I feel
Could
it's
you
like,
imagine if, oh man, I always forget his name. But his little like Irish soldier buddy was there with him.
oh yeah,
The amount of energy coming from those two would just be palpable.
he gets so they do, yeah,
You ever see Scott
we,
Pilgrim, the
yeah,
movie?
yeah,
So you know when the vegan police come in and bust Todd, the bass player,
mm-hmm.
and you know when they leave, they jump through the hole in the wall and they like high five each other. They're like, yeah. That would be
Yeah,
Cyril and his little lieutenant at this point.
yeah. So yeah, he's excited, but also this whole like leads on to the later scene where Pargas is like, "Walk a fine line, Daedra.
Yeah,
Fine
just
line.
remember that.
Just remember, I'm aware. I see you."
Yeah. But that made me wonder though, like because again, Dedra just has no emotion other than like fart sniffing.
hmm
Like is she just straight up like using this relationship to pursue her goal of, because she's as, you know, as much as of a psycho as Cyril, and she wants to find Axis, she wants to find Andor, and she sees this as like a means to an end because Cyril obviously wants the same thing. He's as obsessed with Andor as she is with Axis, and so is she just being like does she? It's just there. It's so
There,
well played because I can't tell because there's some scenes where I'm like, yeah, I think they dig each other. I mean, obviously Cyril digs her, but then there's other scenes where I'm like, she might just be using this dude.
I don't. No, I think the relationship is sincere and real. I think she's confident that Cyril is just down with like her and the ISB and like the Empire. That
Mhm.
even though it's part of the job to keep him in the dark about the true nature of what's happening on Gorman, otherwise,
Mhm.
like he's really on a need to know basis. That's just like the nature of dating Daedra. Like she's an ISB supervisor. Like she
Yeah.
can't just come home and be like, "Yeah, this is what's happening lately." Um, so I, so really, it's more presented like he knows, like he just thinks he's kind of starting. I think the only like trick here is that like he thinks he's preventing a rebel uprising when really like Daedra's trying to start one. He might be a little upset about that.
Yeah.
And there's some like notes out there in terms of his he's being starting to be conflicted based on like his experiences on Gorman. I don't quite get that vibe. I don't think he's gonna, maybe that's like a turn later where he does have sympathy for the people, but he was not like that in season 1. Like he didn't care
Yeah.
about what's happening on Ferrix. He just sees rebels bad kill.
And like nothing is well to this point, nothing's happened on Gorman except a rebel died. You know. Oh,
Yeah,
spoiler alert! By the way.
but he's aware of like it's an armory. The Empire
Yeah.
is being shady. He clearly knows like the Imperial Bureau of Standards. So like he clearly knows that like there's policy and stuff straining Gorman.
Hmm.
Episode title. Um, so I, he's so well aware of it. The only like trick he's being duped on by Daedra is, oh, sorry, you're actually inciting a rebellion, not preventing one.
Look what you did, Cyril.
Yeah. See, they could just blame it on him, be like, you messed up. What have you
You
done?
idiot.
But that's the thing, they never have to tell him
Yeah.
that that was the intention.
Right.
Like ultimately a rebellion's going to start or not, and
Mhm.
he was just doing his fun little mission that his
Yeah.
his girlfriend gave him. And she got to meet his girlfriend's boss, which is like the best thing ever.
Yeah. You know, he should have told Cyril to calibrate his enthusiasm.
And that's probably where he thought of the line. He's like, "Whew, not you too. Pump the brakes. You work here. Get a pass.
Yeah.
Calm down." Um, we see it gets so tricky doing 3 at a time.
Dude, I
Because
know.
at some point, Vel and Cinta meet back up. This is basically
Oh yeah.
after Andor leaves the planet and like does his whole thing with Luthen.
I think
We
this
get
is in 6.
Yeah,
Like early on in
we
6.
see Vel. Um, we see Vel on the planet like right after Andor leaves. Vel shows up and it's like, oh yeah, Luthen ain't playing no games. And Vel's really there to kind of execute on whatever scraps of a rebellion there may be to
Mhm.
salvage. And her one thing was Cinta's got to be there. We learned Cinta got hurt or sick or something, was out of commission for like a year. They haven't seen each other in a long time. So there's
New
some romance.
hairdo, you know.
Yeah, new hairdo, some romance going on there, some fun like French stuff going on, cafes and coffee and all that, yada yada. But to touch back on that whole topic, very cool though, because like even when Andor meets with the the Gorman front, they meet in the shop, and I like how he's like, "Is it safe to talk here?" He's like, "We sweep for bugs every day." He's like, "Doesn't that draw attention?" He's like, "No, no, no, very competitive
Yeah,
cloth clothing
they get
environment."
down with the threads, bro.
Yeah. Which I mean, it kind of reminds me of like the live action 101 Dalmatians, or the Cruella movie, because that was like a big thing where it's like these fashion firms like are very competitive and they do spy on each other, and that's real. So I thought that was cool that they kind of like put that in there.
Yeah.
Then they just have this really cool conversation where he's just assessing this. I don't blame Andor though, because we got like dad and the kids and like the two like goon brothers that are just like, yeah, let's go mess some stuff up. We got
Yeah.
it figured out.
We're gonna steal all their weapons. And Andor's
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
why?
What?
You know, they'll know it was you, right? They're like, so
So
we got all the weapons now. What are they gonna do?
we're gonna prove them that they're lying. It's like,
It's like,
yeah,
yeah, and
you
then they'll
know
just
they're
kill
lying.
you.
You know they're lying. You don't have to prove anything.
Yeah.
If everyone agrees that's what it is, I don't think you got to prove it. Not gonna bring it to like a
Yeah.
trial in the square. Be like, Empire, Palpatine, come here now. You are now on trial for like. Palpatine
Yeah.
shows up, lightnings everybody.
Hmm.
Krennic shows up, Death Troopers everywhere. It
Do
doesn't
it.
go well.
Yeah.
So yeah. Man, Saw. This is where in this
Oh
episode.
yeah, we haven't even talked about
Yeah, so
this
Saw in
whole
this
thing.
episode. Great time because we get to see more of this base. This is where they have their lunch.
Mhm.
We see our boy training the dude like how to like calibrate it. Dude's stressing out.
Yeah.
He's
It's like,
putting
by
on
the
a
way, if you mess up, you're
we
dead.
die. Yeah. And I like how we're like, he's like, and we're dead because you just messed that up. But we get this guy he's training, and he goes to Saw at lunch, and he's like, oh, it's just so stressful. All these things going on in my head, all these combinations of if I could just know where we're going.
Then
I'll
I would
feel
only
so
have to
much better.
learn one thing instead
I'll
of
have to
all the
learn one
different.
thing.
Yeah.
And then I'll, figure the rest out later. That tips off. And he was like, that was the big gotcha
Mhm.
in this episode where it's like, thinks he's going to shoot Pack, blast the other dude. He's like,
Yeah.
traitor, put him on blast.
Because he says earlier that like essentially Pack's not going anywhere. Like this dude, once he teaches you, like
Right.
we're blasting him. Like he's seen too much. We can't let him leave. Which is kind of rude because he's there to help you. By the way, he like literally is part of the rebellion, bro.
I just love Saw's like blacked out X-wings. Like he's just so cool. His whole gang. It's just a good time over there.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you like, hanging with a meth head.
I like how they're called the Partisans though. Like that's the group. They're the Partisans. It sounds so like peaceful and passive,
Yeah.
like all the P words, but it's like no,
Yeah,
they're really
so
the most radical.
diplomatic.
Yeah, the Partisans. But they're really the most like radical.
Yeah, about to
dudes out
part that
there.
wig with this blaster, bro.
Part this, part these sins. But yeah, that was always fun. Mom Mothma arc. She's just trying to. We get another Senate scene
Mhm.
that just does not go well, and she storms
No.
out of there. She's all mad. I like when like
Very hastily.
yeah, when she's just like stepping like it's just so intense. Like we're like she's just pissed. Doesn't go well for her.
Yeah, and we didn't touch on this yet, so if you're getting there, I'm sorry, but the end of 5 with Saw and what's the little boy's name? Will? I think.
William Pack.
That's it. Yeah. First off, after Saul blasts his traitorous former engineer, they're like, all right, well, we don't need to train anymore. Pack up, burn it all. What you can't take, we're out of here.
Get an awesome like X-wing takeoff scene.
Yeah, so they head out, and then the episode ends with Pack and Saw like trying to break into, siphon, whatever this like.
That wasn't episode
fuel.
6?
No, I think this was the end of 5.
Oh.
Well, maybe dude, they all literally blend together. I can't. No, this was definitely 5 because I remember I watched 6 last night, and I was telling you about this part the day before. Anyways, doesn't matter. Um, we have this like, probably number 3 uh, monologue from Saw
So good.
with Pac as he's like, very uh, intensely trying not to die from messing up this whatever this tool is as they break into this fuel pipeline. And oh man, dude, Saw is gone. He's gone.
Yeah, he's tweaking. I think he's on a couple things. He's on the high of the heist, and he's also like doing this monologue to like I think he has no mask on. Pac has a mask on, and he's like working with things. Pac's eyes are like about to burst out of his skull because he's so stressed out about this situation. Um, and like part of me was like, is Saw kind of like tempering his nerves by having this like psychotic like monologue go on? Like, does he think this is helping him? And maybe it is. But like Saw's like also using this moment to like make him live in this moment of like stress. And like he gets to that point where he's like, you're here. You're not with Luthen. You're here right now. Like, what is happening? This is you. Um, and like, he calls him like insane. He's like, revolution is not for the sane.
Yeah.
We're all, we're doing this thing and we're all gonna be dead before the Republic is back. Um, and like it's just this crazy, like he radicalizes this dude and he's like, huff the shit, man.
And he's like, "Come
And
on,
like
everyone's doing it. I'll be your friend." If
and this is actually funny though. And um so if you ever been to like a drag racing event, um there's
have
like
not.
hours before like where they're just tuning up the cars, getting them ready for the races.
Mhm.
And they'll fire up the dragsters like out in the pits where people are just walking, and they fire these things up. They're crazy loud because they're just sitting there up on like stands and they like run them.
Mhm.
And the nitrous exhaust just is pumping into like crowds of people. And like you can always tell people's tolerance because there's people who stand way back, there's people who have like
Mhm.
masks on, there's someone I know that will have no mask on and stand right behind.
And breathing very heavily.
Yeah, like they thoroughly enjoy this. And I've done it once and I had the reaction nearly of what Pac did, where like you like don't breathe, like there's no oxygen in that air. It's crazy. That's exactly what happened here. So that made me think of that. But yeah, Pac, he takes the huff but like nearly vomits. And he just he's just hooked. I think he's in it, whether he wants to or not. But we got to see Saw radicalize someone. Um, I don't know how he does it, but
Yeah, so I asked ChatGPT to give me the monologue because I couldn't remember it off
are
the
you
top of
gonna
my
you
head,
gonna recite
obviously.
it?
No, but well, I'll recite some of it. I can't. I have no Saw Gerrera impression, but
Mm.
the main thing, it sent a video clip
Oh
at the end
wow,
of my answer, which I've never
that's awesome.
seen. I've never seen
Very cool.
ChatGPT do that. Um, but yeah, so it starts out, which is really cool. You get a little uh methed out take on Saw's history, his backstory from the man himself. I was younger than you are now. I was a prisoner. They made me work in a camp in the jungle. No droids, no beasts, just men and cargo. Real jungle, hot, wet, blistering jungle. Old men died fast, just dropped dead where they stood. We came back the next day. There'd be nothing but a bone or two where they went down. Our clothes, they just melted away. So they worked us naked. 300 men, boys, really, back and forth until the only thing you could do is remember was back and forth. Then one day, everyone started to itch. Everyone, all at once. Big scabies break out. It's real sad. Even the guards, you could feel your skin coming alive. It was the Rido. They had a leak. You could feel it before you could smell it. So they all panicked and ran away. But it was new to me. And then he ends it basically like this is when Will like opens the thing, and like you said, Saul is just like huffing the fumes, and he's like, take your mask off, like, come on. Will is like, how can you do that? And Saul goes, because I understand it, because she's my sister, Rido. And that itch, the burn, you feel how badly she wants to. Remember this moment. Look at us. Unloved, hunted, cannon fodder. We'll all be dead before the Republic is back, and yet here we are. Where are you, boy? You're here. You're not with Luthen. You're not in Kansas anymore.
That's right. You seem to be on like an asteroid pipeline out in space.
Yeah,
Puffing
you're
that
in.
good stuff.
It's basically Saul just had that whole like Captain Phillips meme, like I'm the captain now.
You're here with me, boy.
But yeah, man, just his descent is complete. He is.
It's crazy how we how Andor, the 2 seasons, we see the measured, we see like the Saul we know of before in season 1, then we quickly kind of see this like devolving Saw
Mhm.
in season 2 here, where we kind of understand how he is in Rogue One.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, like, I keep forgetting this, but I guess it has been 2 years since season 1, like
yeah,
in the show, let
yes,
alone like real life.
real life and the show. Yeah, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this is really the last 4 years of Saw's life,
Mhm.
and Andor's.
Yeah. Rip.
Everyone's rip.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler. Um,
But yeah, episode 6, man.
what a festive evening it is.
Yes, indeed. Another
I like
party.
I like the episode names on this arc. They're just fun.
Yeah, too long to fit in our episode title, though.
Womp womp
I
womp.
got yelled at.
Ooh,
YouTube and Facebook were like, "Hey,
got
too
him.
many characters."
Got him. So yeah, in this episode we have this awesome like amalgamation of built up tension, context from the prior 2 episodes, and then this like constant flipping back and forth as we move through the episode,
Mhm.
that we've seen just like in the Aldani heist. These these episodes seem to kind of take that format, which I like. But we got Vale and Senta on Gorman. They're actually committed to doing the heist with the French people, the Gormans. They're like, yeah, we're down with this plan.
Yeah.
Let's rock, let's roll. But
Well, we're down with our plan, and you need to be down with our plan.
that is right. She's like, they show up, they get all the details, and they're like, thanks. Here's what we're gonna do. So
It's the equivalent of just like crumbling it up, throwing it in the trash can. Like, okay, now that we got that out of the way.
yeah, yeah, good talk.
Yeah,
And that rubs some of the Gormans the wrong way, and just like it would French people, just rub them the wrong way when
the
someone comes in
worst, literally
and
the
acts like
worst.
they're in charge.
Yeah,
They don't like it when any other country does that, but it happens all the time.
yeah.
So we got Valencinta, and unfortunately we have these kind of like nods to like, oh, Valencinta, we're back together. Short lived.
You should have known. I
Should have
should have known.
You should have seen this coming. I'm
Yeah.
surprised you didn't. Um, but we kind of get this. It is so like French underground, like planning, like the entire like setup of it all. It looked like it was from a World War II movie. Simultaneously, we have Cyril back on Gormand. He is kind of just like eyes of the whole situation, just like man on the ground. And like I like how when the heist starts, Partagas and Dedra like kick everyone out of like command center, because I guess they need this whole freaking room to like
Yeah, well, no
listen.
one can know
Cyril.
about it.
But why can't they just take it in their office? Like, why do they need to like
Yeah,
just
that's
listen to
that's a
Cyril,
great
like
point.
make a big stink of it? Be like, okay, you
Yeah,
50 people that are doing your jobs, get out of here.
get out of here.
There's a
Yeah.
mission. I thought thought it'd be more like NASA, and we'd have like visuals like on the screen, but it was literally just Daedra and Partagas like looking at each other, listening to Cyril
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
narrate what was happening. It's like,
We know about the extent of Star Wars technology. We've talked about it enough times.
yeah, I guess. I just don't know why they need that whole room. Very dramatic effect.
Yeah.
But very like kind of like 1950s like war room, like clear it
Mhm.
out, or like 1970s or whenever Cuba was gonna like nuke us. That whole situation. Um, Andor's mostly like taking a nap this episode. Same thing with Bix. They don't come into like the very end. Um, Same thing. Now, the other main piece to this whole setup is the gala. I can
Mhm.
never. What is his name? The gangster.
Skuldrum.
Skoldrin. Yeah, Skoldrin's gala. It's at his house, or
Oh,
maybe.
we forgot to mention the entire other like third leg of the tension stool, which is Skuldrin's Clea, essentially his little assistant, artifact hunting
Yeah,
assistant, has let Clea know that Skuldrin is basically going to be like
he's got a fake piece.
auditing all of
Yeah,
his pieces, which is bad news because one of those is bugged, obviously, because they need to have ears everywhere. So, um, we have the whole resistance heist thing. We have the whole gala thing, which obviously Mon is already tense with, senatoring and stuff. But
everyone.
then Luthen and Clea are also there because Skuldrin's there showing off these pieces, and Clea has to go on this like super top secret but also very public mission to remove this device before they can be found out. So
This is
yeah,
very like Mission Impossible like vibes right here. Or like something like Batman would be doing as Bruce
yeah,
Wayne. And I'm glad you bring this up because this notes back to a really cool scene between Luthen and what's her name?
Clea.
Clea, back at the shop where he walks in. He's like, "I hope it's good news." She's like, "Ah, so you're gonna have to wait on that." And it's a funny like, you know, like not old people, but like two people who have been together a very long time fighting about something
Mhm.
that wasn't 100% on the up and up the first time they agreed to do it. And basically, he's like, "Oh, you just made me agree to like let you do this thing that I didn't like that happened." And she's like, "Doesn't matter. Like you agreed to it. Period. Like it doesn't matter how you felt about it. You could have not
Yeah,
agreed, you could have not done it. But guess what? You like just doing things." He's like, "I feel like we're always ahead of, or not ahead, but like we're doing too many things. I can't like keep track of it all." And like I was like, "Old man Luthen is creeping up here. Like too much going on, buddy." Like it was just a funny interaction, but very cool
yeah,
because it was another interesting side to like these two's dynamic, who spent a lot of time together, kind of trying to orchestrate all of this.
yeah,
And we just saw them kind of like butt heads, and Luthen just act like a cranky old man and like, "I didn't agree to this. I didn't
yeah,
say we could buy that damn dog." Like stuff like that.
yeah.
So I like these revealing conversations between these two because we don't really know anything about their relationship other than like the three fights we've seen them have,
Yeah,
and that's all they do.
yeah. Just the grumpy old grandparents, even though Clay is like 30 years younger.
Yeah,
I also
half his
love her
age.
like little radio station is just like a DJ turntable.
Just like tuning in, just like, yeah, tune. Yeah, she has to like manually like calibrate it to all the different bugs
Yeah.
they have out there in the galaxy, which is super interesting.
Yeah.
And we
And she
see,
just keeps like moving the cable on the switchboard. So cool. I love it.
yeah, and we see like another like nod to like how this tech works is Andor gives the Gorman friend like, here's a crystal for the comm device unique to it. Like it only work with that. And it's
Hmm.
probably like a frequency crystal, I assume, to
Yeah.
keep it all super encoded, or not encoded, but just like not anyone can hit that frequency and
Mhm.
listen. But yeah, she's turntable and she keeps listening in on the gallery's
Yeah.
speaker there, and that's where she's picking that up. But um, what's his face's assistant like ultimately comes into the shop and like kind of spills the beans, like what she already. She's like, "Oh, really?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
nothing of
love it. It's
yours."
just like just like workplace drama between
Yeah,
them. She's like, "You're like an artifact shop assistant. You get it. Like
yeah,
he's got to check everything now."
yeah.
She's like, "Oh yeah, that wow.
Damn,
Jeez, man, that sucks." Then she's like texting Luthen like, "Oh my gosh, we're so dead."
we are dead. So yeah, so we got the gala, we got the heist going on. Um, and I love the gala. You know, the heist
Mhm.
is pretty straightforward. They're trying to jack one of these transports. It's interesting that the Gorman people, they're like, the transport's always moving threes. The ones by themselves are the ones we want. That doesn't mean they always move in threes, you dingo. Like, it sounds like they move in threes or one, and you just want to get the ones. They don't always move in threes, whatever. I just had an issue with that dialogue. I'm like, they don't
Yeah.
always move in threes then. And if the one time they don't, it just happens to be, oh yeah, those are the ones that we're after.
Yeah,
Really deductive,
obviously.
um, dorks. Um, but punchline there is it is kind of cool. They lay some charges, they like EMP it out, but then is it Val or is it Cinta that does the parkour
Oh,
like
yeah. I think I actually heard her yell that too. It's like, Parkour," and then she, like, electrocute grenades somehow the driver.
yeah, and I was confused because she jumps off the like balcony onto the roof of the cockpit and then onto it and then onto the ground, then hits it with the thing.
Ah, I don't know, there's too much parkouring happening. I
There was
couldn't
like so much, and I was like, couldn't she have just like walked up and like
or
tossed
just
it?
like, yeah, exactly.
Like what?
It's like, parkour."
So that was really extra. But yeah, they take it out. Cyril's watching the whole time and narrating it back to Pargas and Daedra. They're
Mhm.
unloading it, and it's kind of cool because they got these huge service tunnels down to the sewers, and they're just like kicking these things down there, and they're loading them. Vel's being bossy and it's like, take it slow, it's faster. Don't rush, kind of thing.
She's pulling the Nick Severance watch,
Yeah, yeah,
which, by the way, call to action. Hour 30 minutes in. I've been pumping shorts out like crazy, guys. Make sure you're watching them, like them, leave a little comment. But yeah, I did one of your reaction to the finale of Severance, and I remembered that uh, you started basically half watching Severance as a whole halfway through season 2 and finished it before Jeff and I, who had been watching Severance basically since day one. And
yeah.
yeah, so
Was I on the finale of
proving,
that?
yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I forgot about that.
So basically proving Vel's point, slower is faster.
Yep, slower is faster. Um, and Popeye from the meeting, the Gorman town hall meeting,
Yeah.
shows up, and you know, I get it. Like, these are quiet French streets. They just like nosedived a transport that like just tore up the brick, and like it
Oh,
was
yeah.
pretty destructive. And I get why dude just kind of like is stepping out. It's like, what's going on over here? And Gorman front guy's just like, oh, it's just an accident or whatever. And it's like, bro, move out of my way. Like, this is my street. And they get in this stupid scuffle, and the blaster goes off and kills Senta. I thought it was silly.
Classic, you
Um,
know.
class, but felt very like that style, right? The whole like French resistance, boom, like
Yeah.
someone gets shot by
Don't give them
accident.
guns.
Don't give these dummies guns.
Yeah. By the way, we just stole a bunch of guns.
Yeah. And Cyril's just like, shots fired, shots fired. One shot was fired, sir. Calm down.
Yeah, and secretly, Dedra and party guests are like, "Yes,
Score.
success."
And Pargas is just
Um,
like, pause. Okay, now call him in.
yeah,
And make a big ruckus. Like, which is
Yeah.
funny because this reminds me of The Wire, where we're talking about drug dealing in Baltimore and cops just like banging up on corners,
Mhm.
busting like just people dealing drugs. And there are times when they want to make a big show of it, where sometimes they go in quietly and like
Mhm.
bust them. Other times they're like bring in the cavalry, like all the
Yeah.
lights and sirens. So it reminded me of that, where a part has to like
Dude,
make a show of it. Let them
speaking
know
of
you're
that,
coming.
I recently watched, man, Warfare. Every
Yes.
time I wanna say Warframe, which is
Hmm.
a game that I've never played. But yeah, that's something that, like, our military does too. Like,
Yeah.
so there's scene they're, like, pinned down in this house, and because they're basically being surrounded and the enemies are too close, they can't, like, call in an airstrike because 'cause they'll just
Hmm.
blow themselves up. So they call in 2 show of forces, and essentially a fighter jet just, like, comes in and flies, like, 50 feet above the ground and just creates, like, a sonic boom, which is basically the equivalent of, like, a noise bomb happening. But, like, yeah, show of force is a real thing. And by the way, in the movie, like, especially in theater, like, it was a real
Oh
show of
yeah,
force to, like, my whole body. Like, I felt that sound. It was so
that's
loud.
good. That's good.
But, like, man, yeah, could you imagine? That'd be absolutely wild. It's a really good movie, by the way. You should go see it. Well, it's probably not in theaters anymore, but
I'll have to watch
give
it.
it a watch. It's a good
Yeah.
one.
Um.
Both parties here succeed, though. Cyril and the Empire succeed in their
Yeah. They
rebellion
let them go though.
incitement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let
The
them
re
win.
the resistance
And it's funny though because
succeeds, air quotes.
this is exactly what Luthen did to the ISB in season one. Let them win. Let them,
Yeah.
feel like they are ahead of the game. Things like that. So a lot of common themes there.
Yeah.
But the main showpiece of this always is when Mon gets dressed up and
Oh, I
goes
thought
to
you were gonna
a
say
party.
when, like, when, Vel just absolutely murders that kid with dialogue.
I forgot about that honestly. Down in the war room, just like drilling them.
"You don't get to cry." Yeah, the last scene that they, like, cut that will be in the director's, version of this episode is, like, before she's even done, like, finishing her last sentence, he just, like, blows his own brains out.
Yeah.
Can't handle
She just
the
ends with
just
kill yourself.
absolute slaying that Vel does to him.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, dude.
Good restraint, but yeah, she definitely unloads on him and
Yeah.
basically verbally just says, "Go kill yourself." Like that's what she says. Go to hell. Like go die. Like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Oh,
wasn't
man.
happy about that situation.
Yeah.
And Cinta just had no chance apparently from that stray blaster bolt.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what she gets for helping old granny, like, get back to her house.
And then Sabine and Ahsoka get straight ran through with a lightsaber. Okie dokie. Rip
Yeah.
Cinta. No plot armor for her.
No, no. No plot armor or blaster armor.
Nope. Zero armor. Um, but yeah, so the gala. Um, big to do. Everyone's invited. We got, a couple of our ISB supervisors that are milling around, being funny. They're always funny at parties, and I imagine that's how all ISB like people would be, right? No one can mess with them. No one really likes them, but you gotta smile and nod with them,
Yeah.
because they might just ruin your life. Um, and then you have, all the other usual guests, the gangsters, the politicians, everyone's in and out. And I my one of my and obviously we have Luthen and Kayla rolling in here, and there's this whole idea where after the party here, that's when the collection would be audited and checked over. And I like the line where Mon's there with Luthen, and of course Mon's always just like, "What you doing here, Luthen?" Um,
Yeah. Never informed that Luthen's gonna be around.
Never, and why would he? But I like how I think it was his wife. I never know his name. I should have it written
Skuldrin.
down. Skuldrin is, she's like, oh, we're quietly collecting the chosen, basically the very special people, all the VIPs. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, coincidence, I have my historian with me, Luthen. And I just thought that was funny because that's a thing at parties where it's like there is the thing, there's always a something that's happening. It
Hmm.
could be anything, but like there's the VIPs of the party where, we're quietly collecting them to go to the
Yeah.
private showing.
I'm just
Um,
always sitting in the corner eating pizza.
but like, I don't know, this was my favorite part of this arc to some degree, where it's like we go into this gala room of all this artifacts and we kind of like pan around. Like we know Luthen's there, Mon Mothma's there, um, her husband's there, obviously. Skaldron's there. Um, was Bale? No, Organa left.
Yeah.
But then we
Lenny
have
or Lonnie?
we have
Did I say Lenny?
Lonnie with Kay
Clea.
Clea. She's using him on a whim. She's like, "Oh, he's here. This will be useful."
Yeah.
And they have that fun conversation, and she's pretending to like flirt and like tell him all about this one piece, where she's trying to get the sound device out of. So as
Hmm.
the main group's making their way around the room, they're trying to like hurry up. Um, but like
I
they
love
do that,
how oblivious he is. He's just like, we're gonna die. And she's like, if you would just listen to me.
literally going to die right now, risking everything. She's like, it's damn it if we do, damn it if we don't. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Um, but like they just had this really great shot of like when Mon and them are entering, and like we pan around this pillar and it's Krennic, and I'm just like, oh, this is fun. Like,
Yeah. I think that's the moment that you messaged me. You're
it's
like,
like, bro,
just wait.
like,
So
bro,
the whole like natural tension of the episode was doing it for me, and then Nick like externally is like, by the way,
by the way,
just wait.
this cast of fools in this room.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, this is fun because like it's Krennic, and like anytime Krennic's in the room, like the dude is pretty top notch. Like, dude's got a cool cape, all the stuff, all the you know, the ranking
Hmm.
things of the military, and he just always walks around like his shit don't stink. That's why
Don't
Dedra
let
was
Dedra by.
really um but this whole time as they're making their way, like we said earlier, like Mon and Krennic are like having just a a spat of ideological battle.
Yeah.
It's like it was just so enjoyable. And I was
Yeah.
also just like, Mon, like, you're awesome. And then Krennic, like, you're a bastard.
Yeah.
And the one thing where were they talking about Gorman or they're talking about something else? And she was
Some
like,
they
oh,
were talking about the whoever whatever society it was of that
oh,
artifact
that's right. Yeah.
that like the Empire just massacred.
It's like clearly
Yeah.
criminals would say that. And she's
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
it seems like, yeah. So again, they're always just hitting on all the hot topics
But yeah,
here.
dude, I love though, like Mon just basically did her best like JD Vance impression. It's just like, actually,
Yeah, it was just entertaining, and you see the tension on the other people in the room too, because like, I forget his name every single time.
oh, Skuldrin.
Skuldrin's wife is even just she's just even like, ew, this is really awkward. She's like,
Yeah,
are we gonna get in trouble for
yeah,
these
yeah,
two
yeah.
having a disagreement about?
Literally everyone is like that.
But like the first thing Mon says to him is she's like, oh, funny not seeing you on the witness stand. Like speaking of the Senate, like witness stand of their committees.
Yeah.
And I think he even also started with like, oh yeah, I've been like a VIP in your committee hearings quite often.
Yeah.
It's like clearly you two work together.
Yeah.
So that was just fun. Ultimately, obviously, they get the device out. Very tension though, because ultimately they make it there just in time. She's
Yeah.
bleeding. Like she had to like
Right.
twist this thing so hard to get it out. So that was all interesting. But the next favorite thing there was when Luthen and her are leaving, and he's got his whole like flamboyant grandma thing going. He's just like, we should have killed Krennic while we were up there. She's like, haha, yeah, we really should have. Um, but then I was like, speaking of
Yeah.
sacrificing everything, they should have just like sacrificed it all right there, and
Yeah, that would have been it.
boom. Now they still would have made the Death Star, all the stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
That was fun though. Like the
Yeah.
party was a good time.
Yeah, no, it was really good, and I think that's something that this show does so well is be able to create just that insane amount of tension with, like, no action.
Yeah, and I think it's just interesting because a lot of times in Star Wars, like action pieces bring characters together, or they're just passing cameos, right?
Mhm.
This show really like puts their normal lives and like how close in proximity these people
Yeah.
were. Like
Nope.
literally brushing shoulders, and or like in Mon's case, literally having to deal with and work with imperial scumbags
Yeah.
for her whole career.
No pun intended, but, like, all the characters are so, like, webbed together.
Yeah,
Like, everything is so involved in each other, and, yeah, you're right, you don't typically see that, like, level of involvement
right.
in story arcs with that many characters because it's a lot. It's a lot and, like, big story
Episode
arcs.
Yeah, the Revenge of the Sith dabbles in that. So this really feels like an extension of Revenge of the Sith, where we see a lot of like, at least scene wise, Revenge of the Sith did a lot of that. Where you're like, oh yeah, like Palpatine's right there with like
Mhm,
everyone the whole time, and you know you see a lot of that contextually, but not quite acted out. But that's what,
mhm.
why I like Andor is they really bring it down to like these people's kind of daily lives, and there's still like these years that go on between all these big events, and these are
Yeah,
all the fun situations that like they were in. Yeah.
yeah.
But
It's,
Krennic and Mon and Luthen being in the same room, like
yeah, that's
completely
crazy.
aware, unaware of each other, I was just like, whoa, like
Yeah.
I'm not ready.
In, like, 3 years, when you guys look back on this party, your minds are gonna be blown.
You guys would have wished you unpacked more at that
Yeah,
time.
exactly. But,
But
yeah, no, it's, man, yeah, it's just man, this show is just so good. It's
or
so
not good,
good.
because that's super boring at the same time if you
No,
really think about what
those
we're talking
people
about.
are just super dumb.
Ooh, dumb. But I mean, we did get action though, right here at the very
We
end, which
did.
is awesome. We randomly get a doctor. What was his name? Ghost.
I
It's
don't know,
for
that could it might as well be because I couldn't figure out what his name was earlier when I was, looking for it.
yeah. So we got the evil doctor that likes to torture people. Gorst. Gorst. That's what it is. Doctor Gorst.
Close enough.
Um, and earlier we got this whole thing that Partagas was up in a stink about to his two other supervisors that went to the
Oh,
party,
yes. Yeah, yeah.
where he was like, "Yeah, so it turns out our our prime torturer, um, he has drawn attention to
Yeah.
everyone, all the other departments want a
Big
piece of
hit.
big hit. Everyone else heard about it. Now every department wants their own Doctor Gorse torture
Yeah.
service." I'm not thrilled about it because that's our thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's like, he's getting a building like in on Coruscant, all this, which was super helpful because at first I was like, why was it that easy, and why is that building so empty? And I was like, oh, that's right. Like literally, Doctor Gorse is
It's
moving
new.
in and setting up shop in a
Yeah.
brand new empty building. That's why his security was light, all of that. Luthen had the tip. He's gonna fix Andor's problem, which is a Bix problem. Dr. Gorse walks on in, goes into his little torture lab,
With,
and
like, a little slice of cake or something.
he's a freak. Um, and Bix is hiding in there, and she literally just like bum rushes him, ties him up, puts it on, cranks
Turns
everything
it
up
to
to
11.
11, dude. And I like how much he freaks out. Like
Yeah.
there was very little. It was very brief where he was like felt like it was gonna be okay, but then like it goes on and she just starts smacking all the switch. He's like, "Oh my god, I am
Yeah.
dead." Um,
I
then they blew.
also read something about, they tossed around the idea of, like, actually creating that noise for the show to
Oh god,
play
no.
for, like, the viewers to, like, play to let well, Bix is being tortured in the first season.
Yeah.
And Gilroy was like, no, we're gonna put it all on, I forget her name, but the actress who plays Bix, like
Yeah.
she is going to convey just the absolute
Terror.
insanity of this. And dude, she did a phenomenal job in season 1. And I
Definitely.
think that
Same here.
honestly, great idea from the creatives. Like, again, less is usually more.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of like even, I feel like the creative thing there was episode 5 when they're doing the listening device in place
Mhm.
of the theme music when the episode
Oh yeah,
started.
yeah,
That
so
was so
good.
dope. They could have ended that episode with cut to black and just like the screams of whatever the sound is.
Oh, that'd be, no.
But yeah, very cool. She walks out of the building. She blasts the one guard. She
Yeah,
held the gun up a little too long, in my opinion, before she actually shot him. And he was just dumb and was just like, hey, you can't be in here. Meanwhile,
yeah,
she's holding the gun
yeah.
in sight for
Must
multiple
have been a
seconds.
stormtrooper in training or something.
Yeah, to be Stormtrooper. Too bad he doesn't get to see that life. Um, and then Cassian, like they're outside the building. Cassian just pops into view and then goes Iron Man style classic, like explosion as we walk
Yeah,
away.
very Heath Ledger Joker blowing up the
Very
hospital as he walks away.
Very we're back too. It
Oh
did
yeah,
it conveyed the right feeling, like they are
yeah.
officially back.
All they had to do was play "The Boys Are Back in Town" like over top of that.
Yeah,
That would have been a perfect ending. I
yeah,
mean, totally not fit thematically with the vibe that they typically go for, but I would have been here
totally,
for it.
totally. But yeah, awesome episode. And to me, like they could have done the episode 3 thing where they just like cut the black with Mon like dancing. They could have just cut the black with um like the gala or something. But then
Mhm.
we get this, it almost feels like an extended scene or like
Yeah.
even an
Yeah,
after
true.
credit scene. That could have been an after credit scene if we were
Yeah.
like at the end of the season.
I also like how Cass wasn't revealed until, like, right before that scene ends. 'Cause
Oh, right.
for a while, most of it, it's just Bix, like, walking out like a boss, and then Cassian, like, joins her for, like, a second or 2, and then it ends.
I think that's because it plays like her dreams
Hmm,
at first, right? And it's like, is she
yeah,
just dreaming that she kills this dude? And
that's
then
true.
Cassian walks in the view and it's like, nah,
Yeah.
explosion. Granted, now they just blew up an Imperial facility on Coruscant, which is also super rad. It's
Oh,
like the
yeah.
Joker in Gotham for sure. Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like Cassian's shifting from like Batman to like Joker. Like he's all of a sudden like this.
Yeah, also, major terrorist, act.
Oh yeah. It's like
Like,
the OKC building, like back in like the 90s. Like just boom, man. Park that van and just blow it up.
oh, jeez, man. Um, yeah, man, it is a great end of the episode. Very strong 3-episode arc, in my opinion. We are so back.
Very back. And I don't know. Maybe there's like, let's put the slump at the beginning and like
Just get it out of the way.
let's just ramp it up. Whereas like the slump was, in my opinion,
Chapter 3
seven,
in
eight,
season
nine.
1. Yeah.
Yeah, chapter 3, right? So there's like, let's front load it.
Yeah.
The boring just 1 year
Only way
later.
to go up from
Yeah.
here, you know?
I So now the expectation is that every chapter is just going to escalate from here because Saw is off his rocker. He's got
Mhm.
his new boy who's very
Straight up
dangerous
methed out.
with the gear.
Yeah, yeah.
He seems super useful to what they're doing. Luthen or Cassian and Bix are back in town. Mon's just going to continue to do Mon stuff, but at some point here, we're going to see radicalized Mon,
Mhm.
where she's going to shed her
She's
skin at some point, I expect.
so close. She's so close.
Honestly, it might be in the next arc because I can't believe for a mere 1 year before, no, chapter 4 bleeds right in the Rogue One. So we have to see Mon become leader in
Mhm.
3 because I mean, I don't know how the timing completely lines up, but I can't believe she was all but leader of the rebellion for 1 year
Right.
before Rogue One. So that's exciting. So like I'm really pumped for the next 3 episodes. Now that like
Oh, yeah.
now that we've reestablished like we're back.
Yeah. Let's go. I'm so excited.
Now I feel like it's just we're gonna like blow the roof by the time
Yeah.
we get to the end of this, and we're just gonna start watching Rogue One.
I know. I'm so excited. But yeah, guys, let us know what you thought of chapter 2. Super excited, also super sad. We're halfway through. Only 2 more weeks of Andor, which is a big bummer. We do have some fun stuff planned though for the summer coming. So stick around, subscribe to the YouTube channel here if you're listening to the audio episode. Make sure you follow us wherever you're listening. Leave us some comments. Spotify, you can now leave comments, which is pretty cool. But yeah, let us know what you thought of chapter 2. You can join the Discord, check out the Patreon, all that fun stuff. And we'll be right back here next week to break down chapter 3. Anything you need to say before we leave?
Nope.
All right.
Happy to be the 4th.
Yes.
Few days, everyone, and we'll be back for Revenge of the 5th. Not really. Shortly after. Bye.
Yeah. Revenge of the
8th.
8th. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
Revenge of the
Yeah.
Sith.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.